Hello friends, in this video we are going to discuss what are data types of Java, why we use them, and what are their different types. And also we will discuss about the maximum and minimum values of different data types through Java programs. So at first let us take an example of a Java program. Here you can see on the screen, public class hello world is a program, Java program, in which we are just printing 4 messages. You can see that there is no variable here, and since we don't use any variable, or we are not doing any calculations here, so we do not need any variable to store any number or any data. We are just outputting some messages here. So if you don't do any calculations in your program, then you don't need any data, and if you don't need any data, then you don't have to store them on memory, and so you don't need any variables. So here you can see that there are 4 messages. Hello world, this is plain message, output, no data to output, and so no variable required. If we compile it and run it, then we can just see these 4 messages on our screen. I'm just compiling it, and now I can output it. Here are the outputs. So you see that these are only messages, so we don't need any data type or any variable. But if you do any calculations, then you must need some variables to store the data and do the operations on them. So here I show you another program. Here you can see that I am doing here just addition of 2 numbers. So if we want to do addition of 2 numbers, then we have to store the 2 numbers as data in some variables, and if data are in some variables, then the data will be of some type. Here you can see 5 is a data which is stored in a variable A. A is the memory location's name where 5 is stored in your computer's memory, that is RAM, random access memory. All variables are stored in RAM. Now again B is the next variable which is also stored in RAM, and the memory location where 4 is stored, that memory location name has the name B. And since 5 and 4 all both are of integer types, so the variable types are also declared as int. So this is a Java data type which is used to define integer types of data or integer types of variables, and we will discuss next all the data types of Java one by one, and in the next programs we can see how many types of data types Java have and what are their maximum and minimum values by making Java programs. Here we are going to know that why we need variables in our programs. Let us first we imagine that we have to add 2 numbers. So we have to take 2 numbers like A equal to 5 and B equal to 4. Now as you can see here that these are showing error messages, because here A and B both are datas, but their data types are not defined here. So we need data types to declare any variable in our program, because every data will be of some type, either it will be of type integer or will be of type float or character or string, something like that. So we have to declare that their data types in our program. In Java programming, we declare data types of any data by writing some keywords in front of the data. Here A is a data. Now we have to define its type by typing int in front of A, and similarly in front of B we will write int for integer, because A have integer value and B is also of integer value. So here the keyword int is required to define the data type of A and B. And in this way, in Java programming language, we declare variables in our programs for any use. Similarly, if there is some data of type character, then you have to type char, which is a data type, which is a keyword for declaring data type of character type. Let us, the variable is ch, so char ch is equal to, and we can store some character in it, and the character values are stored by using the single quotes. So in this way we can declare many types of variables like floats, doubles, like interest, which is of type float. Interest is equal to 4.5. in this type. We have to put a f at the end of 4.5, because in Java the point values are defaultly declared as double. So if you want to declare any float value or any float variable, then the value should be given by writing a small or capital F at the end of the data. Now here we can we have known that why we require data types. So data types are required to define any data in our programs. Here like 5 is a data type of it is a integer type, so we declare it by using a int keyword in front of A, and ch is a character type, so we have defined it with the keyword char in front of it, and interest is of float type, that is decimal point type, so we have used float data type in front of interest data. And these interest ch, a and b are just the names of memory places where these data are stored, so these are called as variables or identifiers. Means a is a variable for value 5, b is a variable for value 4, ch is variable for data a, and interest is variable for the value 4.5 decimal point value. They are all the data are stored in memory, and those memory places are given the names of the variables. Means a is the name for the place where 5 is stored, b is the name of the memory space where 4 is stored, and ch is the name of the memory place where capital A is stored. Similarly, interest is the name of the memory place where 4.5 f is stored. So now we have known that why we need data types. To sum two variables, here we have taken a variable a and b, both have given default values 5 and 4, and to sum up, we here the third statement, we have just put a plus b here, and this a plus b does the work for summing or adding the two variables. So we see here that to make calculations in our programs we need variables, and those variables must have some data types. So in programs the data types are derived or declared for the variables of different types. So as their values are datas are of different types, so the data types are also of different types. In the next we will see how many data types in Java and what are their maximum and minimum values. Now here is the first program which shows the different data types in Java and their maximum values as the output. Here you can see different data types. First one is the I have written here the variables according to the memory requirement of the data types. First one is the Boolean data type. All the data types are in red color, and the black ones are these are the variable or identifiers name. So the first data type is Boolean. It requires 1 byte in memory, and it can store either a true or a false value. Next data type is of byte size, means its size is 1 byte, and its max value we can show by calling the constant which is defined in the byte class. Here you can see that this byte is of with capital B, and this byte is of small b. So the red one is with the red color byte, it is a data type keyword, and here the byte with capital B is the wrapper class of byte data type. Every data type in Java has its wrapper class, and as we know in classes, class is a user defined data type, and in this class you can have process, means methods, as well as the constants. Here the max value is a constant defined in the wrapper class byte, which gives the maximum value that can be stored in a byte type variable, and so on. You can see all the data types like short, int, long, all have their wrapper classes with the capital letter, starting with the capital letter. So short data type has a class, wrapper class short. Int data type has the wrapper class integer. Long data type has the wrapper class long. Float data type has the wrapper class float, and double has the wrapper class double. And the max value constant, which is written in the capitals here, max value constant, this capital variable has the maximum value that data type can define. So in the byte type of variable byte max, here it is stored byte dot max value. It stores the maximum value that can be stored in a byte type variable or identifier. So, and declaring these variables, I shown the outputs of their particular outputs. So here in this way you can see the data types are Boolean, byte. Boolean is 1 byte long, byte is also 1 byte long, short is of 2 bytes, integer int is of 4 bytes, long is of 4 bytes, float is of 4 bytes, and double is of 8 bytes. And long has the length of 8 bytes. As and char has the length of 2 bytes, means char variable can reserve 2 bytes of memory in the 2 bytes of memory for the values. So here char value, I have given a universal code style which is defined in Java already, and almost 4000 more characters are defined in this way using u/u and then the hexadecimal code. 0905 is the hexadecimal code. Now the output of this program is shown in the right side here. You can see the first output for the answer. This variable is has the output of true, and next byte max means maximum value in the byte variable can be stored is given here 127. Short max means short variable can have the maximum value of plus positive value 32 and 767, and in this and so on. Integer variable of this size, long variable will be of this size, means this size value we can store in these types of variable. So we can store 120 maximum 127 in a byte variable, 32,767 as maximum value in the short variable. We can store 2,014 crores 74 lakhs and 83,647 in the integer value, and so on, a 19-digit value in the long type variable, and in float type variable we can store you can see here 3.4 and 0280 this much, and into 10 to the power 38 exponentiation of 38. E38 means 10 to the power 38 into means its total value will be 3.402823 into 10 to the power 38. So in the double data type variable we can store maximum value as 1.7996931348623157 into 10 to the power 308. And in here you can see the universal character code char value. It has the character of Devanagari Lipi A. So in this way we see that different data types of Java and their maximum values. Now we will see the minimum values we can store in these variables. Here you can see that the minimum values you can store in a byte type of variable is -28. In the short type variable we can store minimum value of -32,768. In the integer type int type variable we can store minimum value of -2,014 147 million and so on. And in the long type variable we can store minimum value of minus and 19 digits. Then in float minimum value we can store 1.4 into 10 to the power minus 45. E is for exponentiation of 10. In the double type of variable we can store minimum value of 4.9 into 10 to the power minus 3 to 4. So as we can see the maximum and minimum values we can store in the Java data types now. So if we see if we can now we can see the whole summary of data types here. So what is data types? A computer program is basically made by two components. One is data and other is process. To represent different types of data So the summary is, a computer program is basically made by two components. One is data and other is process. To represent different types of data in a program, some keywords are used. These keywords are called data types. So graphically we can see that data type are of three types: primitive, reference and object, and user defined. In the primitive section we have 8 different types of data types in Java. First is Boolean, that reserves of memory 1 byte, and it has the value, it can contain the values true or false. Next data type is byte. It is of memory 1 byte and it can store minimum -128 and maximum +127. Next data type is short. It reserves 2 bytes of memory and its minimum and maximum values are these and this. Next is char data type. It is also reserves 2 bytes in the memory and it can store types of character that it can show is of in universal character format from 0 to 65,000. Next one is int data type. It reserves 4 bytes and its minimum value is -2,014,147,000,000 and 2 plus value 2,000,000,147,000,000. Next is float data type, which is also reserves memory of 4 bytes and its minimum and maximum value are, here it is, 3.4 into 10 to the power -38 to 3.4 into 10 to the power +38. Next is long data type. It reserves 8 bytes of memory and its minimum value is -19 digits to +19 digits. Now the last data type is double, which reserves 8 bytes of memory and its minimum value is 1.7 into 10 to the power -308 to 1.7 into 10 to the power +308. But we have seen that practically double and float values reserves or contains minimum value more than what is defined standard definition. That we have already seen in the programs. Now we move to the reference type data types. These data types are of reference types, means they give they have the reference of the data as their content. Means if we define any string type of data variable, then that variable have the reference of the data in memory, and so as the objects as function parameters. Whenever we pass parameters as objects in the methods, then those objects also are declared or defined as the reference objects. So the next data type is of wrapper class objects, which are the classes with the same name as that of the data types, like with the capital letter, the first letter as capital. Like here, if the data type is int, then its wrapper class will be of type integer with I is capital, as we seen earlier in the programs, with a max value and minimum value. So those wrapper class objects are also of reference types or object types. So the data type is object. Next is user defined data types, which are defined by the user or the programmer, which define these data types with the help of different types of fundamental data types or primitive data types like boolean, byte, short, etc., and string objects, wrapper class objects, etc. All are included in these user defined data types. First one is array. Array can be of any type, like of byte values or short values or char values or int values or float values. Means array can be defined by the user or the programmer by using the primitive data types. Next is class, which is also a user defined data type, in which we can use different types of primitive data types as well as constants and different types of methods also. Means a class is such a data type in which we can declare the values or store the values and the methods both. Next is interface, which is just like the class, but the basic difference between them is, between the class and the interface, is that we declare all the variables and methods in an interface, but we did not give the process or the method definitions in interface. Means only the names are given in the interface. So interface is also a type of class in which all the variable names and the method names are only given. No definition for the methods are given. That type of class is called interface, and this type of interface is used to extend other classes or make other classes in which the undefined methods which are only declared in the interface, that are defined in the new class. Next is enum. This is a variable user defined data type in which we can give numerical values to some names, like we can give the color names of different values. We can give different values to the color names. We can give the different values to the days names, or we can give different values, integer values, to the month name, and so on. So enum data type is basically, actually its full form, if you think, then it is enumeration. It is derived from the word enumeration, means giving number to some names. So this is all about data types, and I hope I could succeed to make you understand about data types in Java. And so if you like it, then please consider to share, to subscribe my channel and share the videos, and just please like also. So thank you for now.